Anyway, I think you get the point. The Tarzan yell. That maybe that's what we need to do. Is like Tarzan. If anybody knows who Tarzan was or is, I'm not sure he was actually a real guy. Maybe, I don't know. But he had that primal yell and chest beating holler that would, whenever he was in trouble, whenever he needed, whenever the bad guys were just about to get away with whatever the stunt was that they were involved in, Tarzan could do this primal yell, and all the animals of the forest. Now, I'm not making this up. This is probably based on a true story. All the animals in the forest, I'm talking lions, tigers, elephants, sloths, which was a problem sometimes because they are so freaking slow. And it would hold up the whole thing sometimes. So what they would occasionally do is, kind of like have them ride some of the zebras or something like that. Anyways, that's what we need to do. Is if there was such a thing in. Oh, by the way, this is I'm Ed McKinley. I'm from Massachusetts, and this is StudentLoanJustice.org live stream Tuesday night, August 18th, 2020. And as usual, I'm not gonna lie, as some people say. Like, I don't know why I have to qualify any of those. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I don't say that, then everything else I've said, I'm lying to you. So I'm gonna say it right up front. I'm not gonna lie to you, and that's actually true. Yes, it is. So we are. I mean, I could be jumping all over the place because, like I started to say, I don't always have a whole hell of a lot of time to put these things together, and I'm not apologizing. I work a day gig, like a lot of us, just trying to put some hot dogs and hamburgers on the table. Maybe a little salad once in a while. My doctor wants me to eat more vegetables. So this is the only grassroots. Now, he used to say the only real grassroots, the only actual grassroots. No, it's the only grassroots. You're either grassroots or you're not. And if you're not grassroots, but you're saying that you're grassroots, which an awful lot of people and an awful lot of organizations seem to like to do these days, then you are what we like to call astroturf. That's fake grassroots. This is grassroots. It's not real grassroots, true grassroots, or any. It doesn't need any further adjectives. It just is. This is the grassroots group of any consequence or size in the entire country, fighting consistently and tirelessly for justice with a prolonged, predatory, and corrupt lending system the size of which we've never seen. So, I know the whole Tarzan thing is a little bit ridiculous. But there is a message in there. There's enough of us here now at about 15 to 16,000 people just in the Facebook group to be able to reach out and make a difference to the millions of others out there who in many, many, many cases may simply not understand what the hell is going on with their loans. Many may think they're the only ones or amongst a handful who are going through what you're going through. And in many cases it's just simply very uncomfortable talking about it with anybody. I'm sure that virtually everyone in this group can relate to that. I have never recommended, I'm a social worker or a therapist, never recommended to a client, if your student loans are bothering you, you should go straight into your employer's office and tell them that you're way behind or in default in your student loans. They'll give you a raise. Said no one ever, nor would I. But the long and the short of it is this. This predatory lending system, that word is so important because this didn't happen by accident. Those of us who are, it's in the millions, who are in living in some sort of abject fear, despair, unwarranted guilt or shame, not talking to our neighbors, not talking to other people who we know have student loan debt, regardless of whether we know their status. We have a responsibility here to reach out to those people and to grow this group is I mean, I think that quite honestly, and I know I pound this rock mercilessly, but to reach out and inform people around you. And I always say this: if you walk into I mean, now it's hard. You shouldn't be walking into a lot of rooms of more than 20 people because you're not supposed to in most places. But just for argument's sake, go with me here. If you saw a group of 100 people and you threw a rock randomly into the group, the odds are really high you'd hit somebody with predatory student debt. Yeah, this isn't. There's 50, maybe 60 million people out there who, in some way, shape, or form, have signed promissory notes for student loan debt. It's a lot of people. And so I will also, this is tying into my other primary message. I don't know if they're all primary, I guess. My other message for the night is how important it is to reach out to people we know who have student debt. Because according to a man by the name of A. Wayne Johnson, and I'm going to be repeating that name a lot for the next few live streams that I do. So if the name bothers you for any reason, stay away from me. This is a huge, huge thing, and maybe one of the biggest breaks that we could have asked for, but we have to capitalize on it. So what am I talking about? A. Wade Johnson, if you don't already know, what the hell is Ed talking about, or is he talking about anything? Well, A. Wade Johnson, let me tell you a hypothetical story, or see if you were telling me a hypothetical story that went something like this. Ed, the individual who was appointed a year ago, or probably now a year and a half ago, by the Trump administration in Nancy DeVos, and I think we'll all agree, whether you support the president or not, that Nancy DeVos is a very bad excuse for a Secretary of Education, especially with student loans are concerned. And I could do segments on that, and we have actually. But the guy who they appointed to oversee financial student aid services, whatever the hell it is, FSA or FAS, financial aid service, well, the federal student loan program. The guy that the biggest guy there. The biggest guy. Now, if even just one of the environmental technicians or a security guard from the perimeter, that worked for that company came out and said these things, it would be a big deal. But if you told me that the guy who was running the entire infrastructure for the government of the system that is oppressing us would suddenly resign after 7 or 8 months on the job and very publicly state, and I'm going to paraphrase here, I don't think this is the exact words that he used, but they really were close. This system is completely fucked. Like I say, I'm taking a little bit of liberty. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not sure those are the exact words that A. Wayne Johnson used. In fact, I'm sure they're not. But I am not misstrewing his message or the strength of his message. In fact, Mr. Johnson made it very clear that he believed that 80% of the people who are currently under some sort of promissory obligation regarding student loan debt would never be able to pay it. This is the biggest guy in the department there, okay, in that thing, saying this publicly and with full throat, and throwing his hat into the ring for a Senate race in the state of Georgia, and riding this as a very significant very hotly represented. You know, a lot. I've had other people running for legislature who say, I support bankruptcy protections, blah, blah, blah. But you don't see, you can go to their websites, you may not see that. You know, you could, look at, research them, look into it, and it's hard to find that they actually feel that way, even if they do. But this guy is putting it on a neon sign on his quest for the Senate seat as a Republican. This is important in the state of Georgia. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not familiarized with what the current expectations or standings are for that race. So that's something I'll be looking into more, and I hope that some of you will be. But can you imagine being told this story? For someone like me who has been working at this for a long time, I would have just looked at you, like staring at you, thinking, is this person telling me this story? Are they dangerous? Could I be in danger here? But this really happened. And if you go on our Facebook page, there are several posts near the top of the page that refer to articles and a letter that he wrote, a letter that A. Wayne Johnson wrote, now as a candidate for the United States Senate, to Congress, with some extremely strong proposals regarding dramatically changing this student loan system. I mean, dramatic. Again, I could go into this for a whole hour. I'm going to try and get out of here under 20 minutes. So. Now, how do we capitalize on this? What do we do? Well, maybe our Tarzan yell. Maybe we need to come up with some sort of student loan justice Tarzan yell. Only this time we're not trying to get all of the animals out of the jungle, although metaphorically, sometimes it seems like we are. What we do want to do is to educate and inform as many voters in the state of Georgia as we can. Now, we don't have deep pockets where we could just simply start writing A. Wayne Johnson checks or taking out our own political advertisements in the state of Georgia. We have to do things through that network, like the Tarzan yell. We need to yell into the jungle with passion and with meaning and with purpose. I can tell you what I intend to do, and there may be many other things you can do. First of all, I'm talking to anybody out there who lives in the state of Georgia. This should very likely be, if you're very serious about the work we're doing here, this should probably be as high up on your list of things to be concerned about being involved in as you possibly can. I understand some of us have to go to work. We have to take care of children. I get all that. I understand that not everyone can drop every single thing that they're doing and just run down to the nearest Wayne Johnson for Senate campaign office and live there until after the elections. It'd be wonderful if we could. If you are someone who can do that, then please do it. It's that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. I cannot overstate how powerful this could become as leverage for our movement. Just a small example. I mean, think of the times you're talking, maybe you're responding to an article you saw online, or even talking to an acquaintance, or even a total stranger. You hear the conversation of student loan debt come up, and somebody goes into one of those pathetic, moronic narratives about how college students are just a bunch of lazy, conniving, manipulative twits who should have known exactly what these loans involved and shouldn't have majored in things that they were encouraged to major in by every single person at the school and the high school and the grammar school they went to, and their mother and their father and their grandparents and the guy down at the 7-Eleven. So when those people start shooting their mouths off, and they're there, and they will, how nice is it to be able to turn around and go, well, it's funny you say that because the guy who was running the entire system. I mean, the highest up guy. From after that, maybe you get the Secretary of Education, the President. But this is a high up, way high up guy. Way high. You need a big ladder. Is actually running for the United States Senate as a Republican in Georgia, which the last time I looked is a very Republican-leaning state. The last time I looked, we had exactly 0 Republican senators on our bill, Senate Bill 1414, restoring bankruptcy protections. And I can tell you this, we barely got that bill into production because of it. Because in the Democratic camps, we had some senators who were willing to produce that bill. At least one in particular, maybe more, however, had a caveat: get me a Republican senator and I'll do it tomorrow. And we have focused on this. We have made that effort, and it's been very difficult to get any Republican senators to acknowledge the reality of what we're dealing with. So just being able to say, hey, the guy who was running the entire thing agrees with me, makes the moron you're talking to a chimpanzee. If you can't hold on to that and grab that and wrap your mind around it to validate the reality of the situation that we have been put into in harm's way with the blessing of the United States legislature, then I don't have anything left to offer you. So what I'm saying, and I think maybe we can, over the next day or two, come up with some even more tangible suggestions. But I'm going to start reaching out to anybody that I know who is either in the state of Georgia or knows people in the state of Georgia. I may, although it'd be nice to have some help with this, take some time to find Facebook pages that focus on things in the state of Georgia, and posting something relative to A. Wayne Johnson and his position on student loans, because I really don't know how well known and understood this is in the state of Georgia. So this is really, really, really potentially powerful. This could be an absolute massive body blow to the opposition for us, to help to elevate A. Wayne Johnson to a position that will continue to allow him to be a walking megaphone in the conservative Republican Party. And the guy, from what I can tell, he is a conservative Republican. But he simply, after actually working in, at the highest level, the student loan system, became abundantly clear to him how screwed we were. And he's put his entire life and reputation on that. So please, folks, those of you watching here now live, or those of you watching the rerun afterwards, I get a kick out of being on reruns. I don't know why. I'm a mental case. This is worth your time. And like I said, maybe we could put something a little more formal together, a vehicle for people to approach. But this doesn't take much time. Like I said, if you're in Georgia, if you're from the state of Georgia, if you have family, friends, went to school in the state of Georgia, anybody you know at all, you need to begin to start reaching out and touching people with this information. And right here on our own Facebook page, there's plenty of sourcing material to, in fact, the actual copy of the letter that A. Wayne Johnson wrote to the legislature, which is a very, very powerful letter, is available here on our Facebook page. Now, I'm going to end that with, I don't know if any of you are aware that we have been circulating a petition. Yes, we have. And so I want to end the night by just continuing to uh, substantiate the importance of continuing to grow that petition. These are all things, the A. Wayne Johnson, the petition, when it's over 1 million signatures, for example, that give us legitimacy, give us leverage, and allow us to have a great deal more influence with media, with legislators, with legislative staff, and other policymakers. I can't overstate the importance. Folks, this is a grassroots group. This is how it operates. We're not a brick and mortar, heavily financed, corporately financed AstroTurf group. There are some like that out there. That's not who we are. That's not what we want to be. And so that means that we are dependent upon our members for the absolute minute amounts of money that we use to function, but even more importantly, to increase the volume of our voice through numbers. And when we've succeeded in attracting the numbers that are potentially available to us into this group, we will be like an unmovable and unstoppable force. And I'm talking literally with the kind of clout that an NRA has. That's how many people need to find this group and need to be able to participate in what it is that we're doing. So, okay, I went over time again, even though I planned to only be out here for about 8 minutes. But I do get pretty passionate about this. I do get pretty fired up. I hope that I get somebody else fired up out here. Hope. And want to say thank you to anybody and everybody who's taken the time to work really hard on the petition, by the way, which has way over 500,000 signatures, and I have no reason to believe that we can't eventually get up to as high as 10 million people if people continue. And that's what a lot of the work we do is. It's lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Sometimes it's doing the same thing over and over again, and that's how we get the results. Small things done by many people are a very powerful force. So I'm going to end it there, and sorry if I sound a little scattered or what have you, but doing the best we can. And so I'm Ed McKinley. I'm up here in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and this is Student Loan Justice Live. .org or studentloanjusticeorg.org live, but whatever, we'll make it a word scramble. And thank you again, and I'll be seeing you out there on the page. Bye.